One of the biggest stories today is the missing Titan sub that's gone missing in the Titanic wreck site with a few billionaires on board and some adventurers, I think 5 people in total. And of course, all around the world, on any news site you go to, any news channel you turn on, they are talking about this submarine. It's a story of human curiosity. We have people's lives on the line, and there's a finite amount of oxygen, if they are still alive, that's available in that vessel. Now, the most recent update is that there were banging sounds heard, and there's a massive international search and rescue operation underway. But that's not the story I wanted to bring you as such, because obviously I can only report on what's being reported in the news. But I've been following the social media reaction to this and a lot of the commentary around this topic, and it's really interesting because people are reacting to this story in a very different way than what they would normally react to a story when people are missing or in such a disastrous situation. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that these people paid an exorbitant amount of money. These billionaires paid a lot of money to be in this vessel, which is, in a risky type situation, and they found themselves in this situation. So people's reaction to this is a bit different to, for instance, when the airline went missing, the Malaysian Airlines went missing, or when other such tragedies involving everyday people, perhaps their reactions might be a little bit different. We're seeing a lot more jokes, a lot more memes, a lot more comparisons. And just to give you an example of what I'm talking about in terms of the conversation that's happening, and I want to stress that, of course, regardless of the personal financial situations of these people and the context around that, there are people who are worried about these people, and obviously there's efforts on the way to try to do some sort of rescuing. But this is a very popular post online, and there's been a lot of posts like this. So this Rosetta person's written, hard to reconcile the rush of rescue efforts to find billionaires who have paid £100,000 to see the Titanic, and the stunning lack of rush to save refugees fleeing war and famine. Now, there is a lot of, it's almost 2.6 million views on this, and there is so many comments and people agreeing with this type of sentiment. If I just go to some of the stuff that people have shared, they're saying nail on the head, exactly this. I'm all for describing the depths of the oceans for science and the impact of the sea on the Titanic's corrosion, but it's National Refugee Day, and I've seen maybe 3 things about what people are doing to help refugee crisis around the world. Odd priorities on display. Saving people at sea is a political choice. No one deserves to die, but quite frankly, refugees are not treated with basic human regard. Last week, a boat carrying 600 people went missing. Where are their search efforts? Now I understand where the Irish get their reputation, not to mention how many are dying a week of COVID, and so many of you don't want to hear about it. So this is kind of the turn that it's taken, and it's a bit of a dark turn, to be honest. I understand the sentiment here because these are people who have paid exorbitant amounts of money to go explore the Titanic. I mean, most people would look at it and be like, why would you put yourself in that situation? But of course, all throughout history, people who are adventurous, these kind of pioneering companies that do this type of thing, whether it's space tourism or these type of things where it's expensive and only a certain amount of people can afford it, unfortunately, that helps push the envelope forward further and further. And, when we look at this and, look at it in a perspective of, oh, well, they deserve it because they put themselves in that situation, these silly rich people, what about the refugees? I don't think it's always that black and white, even though we can, as an everyday person, that disconnect exists. Now, a lot of this is, of course, to do with the fact that, there's a few things around this submarine. For instance, the fact that
pieces of this sub seemed improvised.
We can use these off-the-shelf components.
I got these from Camper World. We run the whole thing with this game controller.
Come on!
So a lot of the comedy around this in terms of memes and stuff comes around the fact that this person or the people that made this submarine designed it to be used with a game controller. Again, I mean, we as everyday people, we might be like, oh, well, how could they use a submarine with a game controller? But, this type of technology, very crude and put together. There are many risks involved with this type of technology. And sure, questions are going to be asked about the methods and, how these things have done. But there have had successful trips before. So I don't think the controller itself is the thing, but these are the kind of issues that we pick up on, to make memes or things like this, to make commentary. And it's easy for people to look at it in this fashion. Again, I have to stress that there's, people in there that are potentially still alive, suffering, trying to live. Now, another interesting thing that's come up is, of course, the actual company itself. Some interesting comments made by the CEO around diversity, I guess. So I'll just play that comment as well.
Yes, I mean, when I started the business, one of the things you'll find, there are other sub-operators out there, but they typically have gentlemen who are ex-military submariners, and you'll see a whole bunch of 50-year-old white guys. I wanted our team to be younger, to be inspirational, and I'm not going to inspire a 16-year-old to go pursue marine technology. But a 25-year-old, who's a sub-pilot or a platform operator, one of our techs, can be inspirational. And so we've really tried to get very intelligent, motivated, younger individuals involved, because we're doing things that are completely new. We're taking approaches that are used.
So yeah, that's the CEO of OceanGate, the company that operates the Titan sub. And you can see there's a bit of commentary here around the fact that, they're a bit woke with dissing 50-year-old white guys, when maybe potentially the criticism here is safety and all that kind of stuff matters as well. Now, all of this is speculative because we don't actually know what exactly caused the issue in the sub, but this is the type of commentary that we're seeing online now. And of course, it's to be expected with something like this. Then we have memes like this, which are very common memes, but like normally we wouldn't see this for certain tragedies, but in this scenario, it's a bit different, is what I'm trying to get at. So what do you guys think? Do you guys think, these submarine people, they put themselves in this situation, that's kind of the depth that they're at. So that's where the boat would be. And then as the submarine goes down, they're all the way down here. I mean, putting yourself in that situation, I understand people's criticisms and all this stuff that they're saying around it. But I think there is still a place in our world for people to do this type of exploration, this type of tourism, if it's on the cutting edge, if they want to. What should be the repercussions? People are saying that there shouldn't be any resources diverted towards this. It should be put towards refugee boats and so on. It's a bit of a complex issue in that area, but my firm belief is whenever people are in trouble, we have a duty to try to help. And of course, certain social issues are going to get different responses based on laws and so on. Like if these billionaires were found, for instance, I'm sure they have insurance companies and all that kind of stuff that would cover a lot of these costs. Potentially even the company itself might be insured. All that is, again, still very speculative. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching this video. If you're liking what I'm doing, you can follow me on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Rumble, and Odyssey at The Real Rukshan. See you next time.